Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. Been a couple days since I've been able to get in front of a camera. Work has been crazy, family has been crazier, but here I am. A new lawsuit has been filed against Maura Healey, our Attorney General here in Massachusetts, otherwise known as a tyrant, liberal, left-wing loony, crazy, anti-gunner, goes on and on. Two gun retailers, Bay State Firearms out of Peabody, Massachusetts, and Cape Gun Works out of Hyannis, Massachusetts, have filed a lawsuit which was launched Wednesday this week. Today's Thursday, and it's backed by the National Shooting Sports Foundation, and they're going after her with her 2016, July 20th, 2016 edict, where she took the Massachusetts assault weapon ban, which was already in place, and it was similar to the already sunsetted federal ban, which was a feature test, bayonet lugs, flash suppressors, telescopic stocks, stuff like that. And then she came along and instituted a new way to look at firearms, AKs and ARs and the similar, and she used a similarity test, not the features test, a similarity test. Prior to her making this decision overnight with her friend Hillary Clinton, long story, she wanted to be the National Attorney General and wanted to make a name for herself. There were tens of thousands of ARs and AKs that were sold in Massachusetts that were deemed Massachusetts compliant. Not as bad as California, where they were totally neutered, but you couldn't have certain things like a bayonet lug, because that would be terrible. A telescopic stock, because, you know, if your gun fits you in multiple positions of shooting, then you were an assassin already, with or without the training. Or flash suppressor, because in Massachusetts, there's hundreds of thousands of us scattered along the wilderness, and we're just waiting to attack. So that's why we can't have a flash suppressor. These people are stupid. They know nothing of what they're talking about, but they flap their liberal gums like they're intelligent. It makes them feel good, I guess. Now, the crux of this lawsuit is that Healey's reinterpreting of the law has compromised the livelihoods of retailers without increasing public safety at all. Larry Keene, who is the Senior Vice President and General Counsel for the NSSF, said that Healey and her staff, quote, clearly overreached their statutory authority and decided to legislate from that office without the benefit of any public process and in total disregard of the 18 years of Massachusetts firearms law under which firearms retailers operated. So for 20 years or so, you could buy an AR or an AK in Massachusetts, just couldn't have all those killer features on them. Well, for whatever reason, we all know the reason, Maura decided to make a change. She didn't go to the governor, didn't go to legislature, just did whatever she wanted to do. And, you know, the people that in power of the state, the governor and the legislature, have sat powerless for 2 years while this queen rules the country here. The disturbing part for me is, if you watch this channel, you know I've spoken to numerous of our elected officials here in Massachusetts on both sides of the aisle, and my personal point of view is they all took the coward's way out, saying this is going to have to go to a lawsuit. This is going to have to go to a lawsuit. Not that we can just challenge her, or not that someone could say it's unconstitutional, Governor, or anything like that. They all wanted to stand back and didn't want to screw with the Queen, and this is where we are now for the last 2 years. Nobody has enough to grab them and shake them, and we have to wait for a lawsuit. Now, there were similar lawsuits launched against Maura Healey in the last 2 years, and most recently there was a judge, William Young, in April, basically stood by Maura Healey in dismissing the case that we all thought was going to be the one to take her down. And his quote, let me read this because it's funny. He said that, quote, assault weapons and LCMs, which are large capacity magazines, standard capacity magazines, but I digress, the types banned by the Act are not within the scope of the personal right to bear arms under the Second Amendment. So I don't remember reading that on the Constitution. I mean, I got a copy in my office on parchment, and I don't remember seeing that. But I guess we just do what we want nowadays. Under the Barack Obama administration, that's what we've become. Now, the judge went on to further had some diarrhea, and he said, going on to elaborate that magazines capable of holding 10 rounds or more than 10 rounds of ammunition were likewise indicative of military firearms, and thus out of constitutional protection. The ruling has been appealed to the United States First Circuit. Now, who in their right mind thinks that they get to decide what a military firearm is, unless you're actually on the board in the military who decides what firearms they're going to put out into the field? There is not a standing army in the world that uses an AR-15. It just isn't. Don't believe me, liberal? If you're watching this, call my bluff. Just aggravating, but this is the next attempt to get us back to where we were 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago almost now, in Massachusetts. If you want us to get back there immediately, elect Jay McMahon for Attorney General. The primary is coming up here in Massachusetts September 4th. And unless we in Massachusetts get off of our collective asses, this shit continues to happen. Take it from me, I live here. Until we see each other again, this is Jared from Guns and Gadgets. Be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. Take care, everybody.